everyone, welcome back and thank you so much for clicking to watch this video. You're welcome to another episode of Wednesday's Wahala. This is where I attempt to do a makeup look while talking about real life DV situations that went really bad. And the goal for this is just so we can get some awareness about DV and how we can avoid it and to learn the signs and to prevent it pretty much. So last week we talked about Lina Keza. If you have not watched that video yet, I'm going to link it in the description box, or you can go into my playlist and it's going to be right there. There are other videos also that are in the playlist that I'm pretty sure you're going to enjoy. So for today's video, we are going all the way to South Africa, and this is a heartbreaking story of a young lady called Karabo Mokoena. Now, I'm just going to put a disclaimer. If you are not prepared or if you are not into such kind of DV kind of stories, probably this is not the video for you. But if you are, I'm hoping that at the end of the day, we're going to come out with something constructive today. For today's video, you guys, oh my God, I am so excited for today's video. I'm so excited. Today I'm using the new Juvia's Place Culture palette. This is a beauty, you guys. Oh my God. I'm going to say it for the gazillion time that I collect Juvia's Place palettes for whatever reason. I just love their products, okay? I love Juvia's Place and I just want to have everything that they put out there. So here we are. We're using this palette for today, and of course we're going to play with it together because I do not have a look in mind. So let's do some makeup and talk about today's Wahala. Karabo Mokoena was a very bright and intelligent young woman. At 22 years old, she was an activist, talking to young women about DV, educating, like empowering women. Her friends described her as very bright. She was intelligent. She was outspoken. And she would hold these conferences, like these little groups where she would educate women. At church, she would come very close to female pastors, and she would always tell them how she wanted to be like them. She wanted to educate women. She would travel with their church groups and just help women. She loved helping, especially young girls like her, trying to make their lives better and trying to see how they can just become better in the community. So she was a very outgoing person, very outspoken. She loved life, just a young girl that enjoyed life, but also very spiritual. She loved going to church. She took care of herself. She carried herself well, and she was also very beautiful. One day, Karabo had gone out with her friends. They'd gone out for an evening, a girls' night out, and she met a young man at the club. This guy was called Sandile. Now, Sandile was well presented, well dressed. He was actually rich, or so he claimed he was. But you could tell from his outfit that he was well put together. And he was also very spiritual. Like they connected, they bonded that night because they would talk about their spirituality, talk about the church, and he came off like somebody that loved God, and I guess that's what attracted her to this guy, Sandile. Sandile was 26 years old, and he presented himself as a forex trader. So according to him, it's the forex trading that made him rich, okay? And he wasn't afraid to show his richness, okay? He would flaunt his riches. He would buy expensive cars, and he would have these shows where he's advertising his forex trading and trying to get people to get into the business and all of that. But come to find out, I'm going to skip forward a little bit because Sandile, I'm going to tell you right now that come to find out, he was a scammer. Okay, he wasn't what he presented as at all. But during that date, that first meeting, both of them clicked, like I said. And I guess he was just saying all the things that Karabo needed to hear. Like, he was a church going guy, he was spiritual, he loved God, and maybe he felt that that was the kind of person she was, and he just, I don't know, he got to her and they clicked. So she had called her friend later on and she was like, girl, I met this guy and he is like the bomb. You know, he's fine, he's rich, and most of all, he's God fearing. He's goes to church, spiritual, and all the good things, you know. Before you know it, Sandile and Karabo start dating. And of course, they are very good together. They look so good. He is this fine looking man. She is this pretty young girl. And they're giving us couple goals, right? So they start dating, and shortly after that, Karabo moves in with Sandile. Sandile lives like in the city. He lives in a very expensive apartment, a high-rise apartment. So she moves in with him, and in the beginning, everything is fine, you know. They just moved in together. The relationship is still brand new, so they are in kind of like the honeymoon phase. Everything is going on fine until the abuse starts. First, he started by just breaking her phone and just hitting her just here and there, just the small kind of things, and she would just take it. Okay, not until one time when he beat her so bad that she ended up in the hospital. She took pictures of it, sent the pictures to her mother, sent it to her aunts and other family members, and they were like, Karabo, what's going on? Who did this to you? And she was like, oh, it's Sandile. You know, he hit me so hard, I fell, and he was looking so bad. I mean, for her to have ended up in the hospital, it was terrible. So at that point, her mother and other family members intervened. They were like, no, Karabo, we can't do this, you know. I mean, you should know better. We expect that you should know. You educate young women on things like this. So you should be the one, you should be the first one to leave this type of relationship. So you need to go. So she was like, yeah, you're right. You know, I need to go because I can't continue like this. But even though she agreed, she was kind of reluctant. They had told her after she left the hospital that she needed to file a complaint. And guess what? The whole time she was at the hospital, Uncle didn't even pass to say to check on her. So when she left the hospital, she decided, okay, let me go and file this complaint on this guy, on this abuse. So she goes to the police station to report the abuse. And it turns out Sandile had gone to the police station before her and claimed that she attacked him. He claimed that she attacked him, that she hit him, and she was trying to explain that he had been attacked by some armed robbers or something, so he had wounds on him and stuff. But he went to the police station and said that she did it. And at the time when he had hit her, she fell and dented his car. And he reported that she's the one that messed up his car like that during the fight. So the police at that time, they were like, okay, this is her word against his, right? They don't know who to believe. He's saying that she did it, she's saying that he did it. So they decided not to prosecute any of the cases. They just threw the whole thing out. At that point, Karabo was like, how could he do this to me? Like, she couldn't believe that he would go to the police station and report that she is the one that was abusive to him. So she was like, okay, I give up. That's when she finally decided to leave this guy. She packed her things and left him. Left because I told you she was living with him already at his apartment. So she packed her things and left. And she just continued with her life. Life went on. About 2 weeks later, both of them hadn't spoken to each other in a while. She went out for a night of clubbing with her sister. And it turns out at the same club they were at, guess who was there? Sandile. She hadn't been talking to him. They hadn't been talking to each other for like over 2 weeks. And it seems like Sandile had already moved on. So they met at the club. And it's like there was an altercation, like some verbal exchange went on. And Karabo called her mom and told her mom that, hey, guess who I met at the club? And the mom was like, girl, I don't want you talking to that guy. You better come back home like yesterday. Just come back. Don't talk to him. You know, he's bad news. So one thing led to another. Nobody knows what was said at the club between both of them, but for one reason or the other, she decided to follow Sandile back to his apartment. And unfortunately, that will be the last time that anybody ever saw her alive. So her sister went back home and, hoping that, okay, Karabo's a big girl. She can take care of herself. If she wants to sleep out today, she can sleep out. Tomorrow she's going to get back. So the sister went home. And the next day, they started calling Karabo. And they were calling her. Nobody was picking up. So they started getting worried. And the sister thought, okay, we were at the club yesterday and she was with Sandile. So maybe let's go to Sandile's place and find out where she is. When Karabo's family gets to Sandile's place, he claims that he hasn't seen Karabo, but he says that, well, maybe she has gone out with some Nigerian. Maybe she has gone to Nigeria. Okay, out of nowhere. I don't know how he came up with Nigeria. But then when they asked more questions around his apartment, they asked the security guards. The security guards said they hadn't seen. The security guards said they hadn't seen Karabo, but they had something that they found in the trash. Come to find out that Karabo's ID and passport was picked up in the trash. So that's when the family decides to involve the police. They go and they come back with the police, but by the time they come back with the police, Karabo is not home. And they try to get in touch with him and he tells them that, oh, I'm not home, but I can try. I'll try my best to see you guys later on. So when the police gets there, now they are able to look at the CCTV camera footage of the building, and lo and behold, they see Karabo getting into the elevator with this guy the night that they were at the club, which is the day that everybody last saw her. They see her getting in the elevator with him, and they watch the CCTV till the very end, and they don't see her ever coming out. So they believe now that, okay, there's something fishy, and they believe that they have enough evidence to charge him. So they arrest him. While Sandile is at the police station, there's a report of a burning body. Like they find a body that was burning in the bush someplace, and they report it to the police, and come to find out it was the beautiful, beautiful girl, Karabo. The police start to question Sandile. And at first, Sandile admits, he just confesses. First of all, he's so He's so adamant, he's so cocky, he's just like, yeah, I did it, So he confesses that he did hurt her, he did finish her. First of all, let me I forgot to say this. The CCTV camera didn't only see Karabo getting in, but the CCTV camera also see him going into his apartment, like getting into the elevator and going into his apartment with a big trash can. Okay, he goes out, grabs the trash can, comes back into the elevator, and later on they see him coming back out of that elevator with the trash can, and now he's kind of covered with some clothing. He goes out, and then they see him going out of the garage, and they're guessing that's when he was disposing of the body. So he does confess that yes, he did it, and then what happened to the body in trying to dispose of it, he took some gasoline out of his apartment and he decided to burn the pretty girl just like that. The next day, the guy changed his story and told the police that yes, he had disposed of the body, but he didn't finish her. She finished herself after he told her that he was going to break up with her. He claimed that they had gotten into some kind of blood pact or something like that, and that um, somebody was going to end their lives if the other person decided to move on. You know, those blood pact kind of things. He claimed that she took her own life after he told her that he wanted to break up with her, and that he only disposed of the body because he thought that they were going to come after him. They were going to blame him for her taking her own life. So he decided to dispose of the body. Like this guy, after being so evil and doing something like this to a young innocent girl, he doesn't even have like the decency to even tell the truth. I don't know when the first day he told the truth about what happened. He had finished her and he disposed of her body. And then now, I guess maybe his lawyers told him, no, you don't want to say that. Maybe we can get you a little less time if you say you didn't do it. And he decides to lie. So the police didn't believe him, of course. Of course, the police didn't believe him. They arrested him and charged him for the brutal murder of this young, beautiful girl for no reason, So during the trial, you needed to have seen how this guy appeared in court. Oh my God. I was like, who is this guy? He came to court. He came to court like a celebrity. Like the rich is it forest? The rich forex trader that he was. He would dress up in suits. He had no remorse. He didn't show like he was sorry about anything. So luckily, the judge and everybody else saw through his lies. And like I said, after investigating, they found out that he was a broke con man who fooled people. He lied to people about the forest trading, and he owed so many people and just lied to them and scammed them in the name of being a forest trader. So that's how this young girl's life just ended like that. So yes, another sad situation, another sad story where we are just left with so many questions. We're left with so many whys and so many what ifs. Like we can't help but wonder how she found herself back in this man's house, because she had broken up with him. They had not been talking for like over 2 weeks. So why did she go back? Like, it's so many questions. What did he tell her that day that made her change her mind and be like, okay, I forgive you? What did he say to her? What did he do to make her change her mind? It's so many questions. So many questions. And you just ask yourself, like, okay, what if she didn't go to that club that day? Maybe she'll still be alive. What if she didn't meet him at the club that day? What if she didn't go with him? Because the CCTV showed her getting into his apartment. He wasn't she didn't look like she was being coerced or anything. She went there with her free will. They weren't talking to each other, they weren't exchanging any words, but she didn't look like she didn't want to be there or she was coerced. I don't know. From the CCTV footage, it didn't look like that at all. So what is it that he could have told her in the club that made her go, okay, I forgive you? I don't know. So there we have the sad story of Karabo Mokoena, you guys. I intentionally didn't want to make this video too long because I don't want to focus on her passing and how she passed, but I really want to focus more on the lessons. Okay, this woman, like I said in the beginning, very intelligent. She had a degree, a business degree. She had an aviation license. She was looking to open an NGO in the future. She wanted to be this big activist that's going to stand up for women that are abused. She educated young girls to get out of abusive relationships. She educated young women to stand up for themselves, to be able to identify abusive relationships and how to get out and be strong. Unfortunately, she fell victim for the thing that she fought for, the one thing that she was most passionate about: helping young women, educating them on how to get out of this type of relationship, but she fell victim to it. Now we can only sit and ask questions like, how did this happen? Like, she should have known better, right? We have to understand that sometimes these are the people that the narcissists look for. Okay, they look for these strong women, and they try by all means to bring you down to nothing through maybe verbal abuse and physical abuse. It makes you just lose your self-esteem. Like, who would have imagined that this is the person that will fall for something like this? But the narcissist, they will crush you by their words, by their actions. And I'm pretty sure that this is what this guy did to this poor lady. It is so sad that she lost her life for the very thing that she fought for. Now, this case was very, very big in South Africa because people came out and they were they were asking for the rights of women. Like, how are we protecting women that are being abused? How are we protecting women that are in abusive relationships? Because it turns out that when she had gone to report this case at the police station, the police said, oh, we're not getting involved in couples quarrels, like domestic stuff. That's not our business. We're not getting involved in that. And especially since Sandile had also reported that she had abused him, they just closed it. Like, what if they had done some investigation? What if they had looked further into this thing? like I said, at the end of the day, we are left with so many what ifs. And that's really all that we can do now, is just ask what ifs and whys. In the end, Sandile was found guilty. He was charged with the brutal beating of Karabo. Remember the first beating that he gave her at the first report that she made that was overlooked the first time? He was charged with that. And he was also charged with finishing Karabo and getting rid of her body. That got him 32 years in jail, which for me, I don't think is enough time for him, because you see somebody that can go to that extent to get rid of a body the way he did, burning it up like that. There's no way that I can believe that he's not going to do it again. There's no way. And you can tell that this guy is like a classic narcissist. And then at the end of the day, he gets just 32 years. That time he was in his 20s, getting 32 years. So he's going to be in his 50s when he gets out of jail. He's still too young. That's still enough, more than enough time for him to do, for him to take another innocent soul. You know, somebody like that deserves to spend the rest of his life in jail and never get out, because he's going to do it again. I'm very convinced he is. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Like I said, I didn't want this video to really focus on how she passed, but just some of the lessons that we can get out of this. You know, be watchful for the narcissist and stand by your words. And if you're going to look out for narcissistic behavior, look out for it and go with your intuition, go with your gut. You know the signs, you know all those things, because we talk about them. We are educated. That's why we want to educate ourselves. We are empowered, so we want to be able to run if we have the opportunity. So thank you so much for watching till the end. If you're still here, I'm pretty sure you enjoyed the video. Please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. Show some love, take care of yourselves and each other, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.